Alrighty, you guys, a new Liam Neeson movie. Let's hope this one is different than the last one that was released this year. Let's read a little about it. Alex Lewis, an expert assassin with a reputation for discreet precision, gets caught in the middle of a moral dilemma. He doesn't complete a job that violates his code, so now he must hunt down and kill the people who hired him. They're all the same movies. What's going on, everyone? James here with another real review, and today we're getting into Memory, the new Liam Neeson action film. A huge thank you to Briarcliff Entertainment for giving me the chance to watch this early for review, and now it releases in theaters this weekend, April 29th. So when you see it, let me know down below in the comments, are you still watching Liam Neeson's movies? Because he released The Blacklight this year, and let's just say it's not the best movie on my list this year, but it's at the bottom of it. But I did have some hope for Memory after all, because it's directed by Martin Campbell, who directed my favorite James Bond movie, Casino Royale, and it doesn't just star Liam Neeson here. There are a couple of co-stars that are great in their own respects. You have Monica Bellucci and you have Guy Pearce. Now, while the summary of the film is literally the same thing, you guys, it's expert assassin finds a soul, and then all of a sudden has to hunt down the people who decided to send him to kill this person. So it's a lot of the same thing, but is this any different from some of his more recent action movies? Now, before I give you that answer and tell you whether I liked it or I didn't, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I love talking about movies and TV like this all the time. So if you do too, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on the bell, and hit the thumbs up button if you again are even remotely looking forward to this movie and are interested in Liam Neeson's recent work, because it hasn't been great, y'all. But you know what? Let's not get off on an unoptimistic note, a pessimistic note. Let's start off on a bright note here and begin with the positives. For at least the first half an hour, there was something keeping my attention. It kind of knew where it wanted to go, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is different from Blacklight, which starred Liam Neeson this year, in which it had zero direction and the writing was awful. However, after that 30-minute mark in Memory, everything becomes a blur and you almost wish you forgot about this one. So you know what, guys, it's time to get into the negatives, because that's the only positive that I had about this movie. Unfortunately, Memory is just like other Liam Neeson movies as of late. It has nothing that is going to hold your attention for nearly 2 hours. And I'm not even kidding, guys, this movie is overly long. It's an hour and 53 minutes, and I was dreading my time with this by the 50-minute mark. Memory is a movie that has some makings of a decent action thriller, but it can't ever be brought all the way together. And you know what? It does start with the director himself. Martin Campbell is no stranger to directing a quality action movie. However, here, he just doesn't seem like he cares too much. And that's always a big issue when the movie is going in one way and then it pulls into another direction, and then you start to notice that there's a lot of baseless drama. There's nothing really happening on screen, and these conversations are just drawn out between our characters. When they do try to develop these characters, it is very forced, so the writing as well does not work. So you have the director, the writer, they're just not married here, and then you look at the cast itself, and it's abysmal acting. And I hate to say that, but Liam Neeson really is phoning it in at this point in his career. He's not really acting, and when he takes roles like this, you can just tell that he's there, and then he just clocks out. There's no connection to the character. I just don't think these types of roles work for him anymore either, because it's not believable that he's this action crazy superstar anymore. The movie really tries, though. They do in the first half try to make you, I don't know, get in that mindset that Liam Neeson is still a crazy bad A-word and he's going to hurt people. But it doesn't play that way. It's very clunky. And then you have Guy Pearce, who's playing an FBI agent, Vincent Serra, and I'll be honest, this whole cat and mouse game between him and Liam Neeson is just boring. Seriously, his character is very one note here, and maybe that was how the script was written, for him to act one note, but I know Guy Pearce. He is a great actor. I just don't understand what happened here. Was the mustache that was bothering him? I don't know, but I just think that this movie just doesn't know how to utilize its cast. Monica Bellucci plays Devana Seelman, a criminal mastermind, I guess? I don't know really what they're trying to tell us with this character, because, again, I just don't know much about these characters because the movie doesn't care too much about them. But Devana Seelman is someone who's in a pickle, and I cannot believe how they misused her as an actor. Are you kidding me? This is Monica Bellucci, who is someone we know can crush it on screen. So what happened here? And it's simply for the fact that they gave her these very generic beats for her character. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are we doing this? Why is this a thing? If this was the approach, why don't do that? Don't go in this approach. We have enough of these movies. There is no reason to continue doing this. Just make it different, and nothing about this movie screams unique for me. So you have some pretty bad directing and writing, lead characters who just are not very interesting, and what else? Well, there's the technical aspects. Now listen, I can deal with a shot inconsistency or two here and there, and most of the time they're not obvious enough to where I even notice it, but here I noticed all of the shot inconsistencies, and then you have editing that is just awful. Guy Pearce exits his car on the driver's side, walks over to the passenger side, and then Liam Neeson looks in his rearview mirror and he's automatically back on the driver's side like nothing happened. It's like, dude, what is going on? And then you look at the editing during some hand-to-hand fight sequences with Liam Neeson and some enemies, but it is just so choppy. We're not getting anything smoothly displayed on screen, and it's probably because they had to take some breaks and they weren't moving as fast. I'm telling you, Liam Neeson taking these roles, it's not working. He's just, I guess if he's not able to keep up, why do hand-to-hand combat scenes? Can we get more creative with how we're going to use Liam Neeson? But again, same role, same result, and it's not a good one. And for a movie called Memory, you start to understand that there's more than meets the eye with this plot, especially when it comes with Liam Neeson's character, Alex Lewis. He's dealing with, you know, memory loss. But the way they do it here, the way they introduce that angle into the story where they sprinkle the breadcrumbs all along, you get into the third act, we're almost an hour and 30 minutes into this movie, and then they start to fully realize that this is a part of the film. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Why are we taking so long to just get to the point? It's an action thriller that is starring Liam Neeson. It's the 54th of its kind. Can we just get there? And the pacing is so off in this movie. So I'll be honest, I'm not going to remember much of this movie. So overall, you guys, Memory is a film that, yes, I think falls flat yet again. And maybe it's a little bit better than Blacklight, but guess what? They're still at the bottom of my list for 2022. And you know what? I genuinely was hopeful for this movie because of Martin Campbell, and even seeing Guy Pearce and Monica Bellucci's name next to one another here, I thought would have been good. But there is no positive that I can take away from this movie other than maybe it was okay on paper. We got some bad dialogue, some bad acting, it's overly long, and honestly, some of the elements of this film just felt unnecessary. So I don't know what we're doing right now with Liam Neeson's career, but can somebody figure it out? And honestly, Memory is such an unrecognizable movie that you'd hardly know it's Martin Campbell directing unless someone told you, and that is a huge issue. So there you have it, you guys. That's my real review and thoughts on Memory. Again, it opens in theaters April 29th, but when you see it, let me know down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Was it money well spent if you saw it in theaters? Because there's something here for fans of Liam Neeson, I guess, if you're willing to put up with Blacklight and those kind of movies. But if you're looking for something more because you know Liam Neeson can act, this movie is going to just frustrate you. And hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on the bell, you guys, because we got some important content coming out. I mean, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness next week. My review's dropping before it hits theaters, and it's gonna be glorious. I hope. Alrighty, y'all. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. Liam Neeson. Why?